All right, let's dive in. If you're involved in sponsored research, you know that even the most perfect plan can hit a snag. But what happens when it does? Today, we're going to break down the official process for handling those changes, and it's all about something called a prior approval request.
So, picture this. Your research is humming along, everything seems to be going great until, well, it isn't. All of a sudden, you realize you need to shift some funds around. Or, hey, maybe an amazing new collaborator pops up who wasn't in the original plan. Or maybe you just need a few more months to get everything done. These are all super common scenarios in the real world of research.
The good news is there's a totally structured way to handle these pivots. It's called a prior approval request, or PAR for short. Now, try to think of it less like a roadblock and more like a clear pathway, really. It's all managed by the Office of Research Administration, or ORA, and they're your partners in this whole thing. So let's get into the basics. Okay, first things first. What kind of changes actually mean you have to file one of these requests? Let's break down the most common types you're likely to run into. First up is a budget revision, and this is probably the one you'll see most often. The key thing to remember here is that this happens without changing the total award amount. We're not talking about asking for more money. This is all about strategically moving the funds you already have, like, say, taking some cash from your travel budget and putting it into your supplies budget because your project took a new turn. Next, we have a change of scope. And this one's a big deal. We're not talking about little tweaks here and there. This is for when you need to make a really fundamental shift in what your project is all about. For instance, imagine your research on one protein leads to this totally unexpected discovery about a different cellular process, and you realize that's where the project needs to go. Yeah, that's a change of scope. People are obviously the heart of any project, right? So any changes to your key personnel are a pretty formal event. This could be adding a new co-investigator, maybe someone leaves the project, or, and this is a specific number you got to remember, if a key person reduces their time on the project by 25% or more. The sponsor gave you the money based on your team, so they definitely need to be kept in the loop. A no-cost extension, or NCE, is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You've got money left in the bank, but you're running out of time on the clock. An NCE gives you that extra time you need to finish the work you promised to do. The main point? No new money is coming in. You just get more time to spend what you've already got. And finally, what if you need to bring in an outside partner that you didn't mention in your original proposal? That's when you're going to need a subcontracting or subawarding PAR. This is just the formal way of bringing a new institution or a new company onto your team after the award is already up and running. Okay, so now that we know what kind of changes need approval, let's actually walk through the process, from the moment you send your request to the final decision. As you can see, the whole journey is a pretty clear 4-step process. It all starts with you, the principal investigator, kicking things off. Then OARA does its own internal review. Once they give it the green light, OARA is the one who formally sends it over to the sponsor for you. And finally, OARA gets the decision and circles back to let you know what's what. It's a really simple, clean workflow that's designed to avoid confusion. Now, the big question, how long does all this take? Well, it's really important to think about it in 2 parts. The internal review by OARA, that's actually pretty quick, usually 5 to 10 business days. But once it gets to the external sponsor, their decision can take 2 weeks or, honestly, sometimes a lot longer. So the real lesson here is to be proactive. Get your requests in as early as you possibly can. This whole process works best when everyone knows exactly what their role is. So let's talk about your specific responsibilities as the principal investigator, or PI. Listen, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this slide. What you absolutely must do is get in touch with OARA the second you even think a change might be coming. Early communication is everything. What you absolutely, under no circumstances, should do is contact the sponsor directly about these requests. OARA is the university's authorized official, the only official channel. Going around them can create some really serious headaches. And this quote right here, this gets to the heart of why that rule is so incredibly important. It's all about compliance. You cannot start spending money or acting on a change, it doesn't matter if it's for a new piece of equipment or a new partner, until you have that formal written approval back from both the sponsor and ORA. If you jump the gun, you could put the entire award at risk. So what happens when the change you need is a little more complicated, like adding a whole new partner to the project? This is where ORA's role as a support system really shines. Let's use adding a subaward as our example here. Look, adding a new subrecipient means you need a lot of specific paperwork. We're talking a letter of intent, a detailed statement of work for your new partner, their budget, and a whole lot more. It can feel like a mountain of documents. But here's the thing, you are not doing it alone. ORA will actually partner with you to help gather and organize this entire subrecipient package, making sure everything is perfect before it ever goes to the sponsor. So let's wrap this all up. When you boil it down, the core message is pretty simple. Research is messy, and change is just part of the game. The prior approval request process isn't there to stop you. It's there to help you navigate those changes the right way. The Office of Research Administration is your essential partner on that journey, keeping you both successful and compliant. And that brings us to our final thought for today. As you think about your own projects that are running right now, ask yourself this. Is there a change looming on the horizon? A potential budget shift, a new collaborator you're thinking about, maybe a delay? What's the one thing you should probably be talking to ORA about? Not next month, but right now.